Hey everyone, and welcome to Isms by Josie. Today we're going to be continuing making Elsa from Disney's Frozen crochet kit. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, we are going to be continuing part 2 of this video series. We started by doing the head and body and the legs for Elsa. Today we're going to continue the skirt and the arms, and hopefully we'll be able to finish this today. But I will be trying to keep this video down to 2 hours, so we'll see what we can do within that time frame. Alright, so this video is just meant to teach you how to do new stitches. I will show you how to do new stitches at least 3 times, step by step. Thereafter, I'm going to be going at my normal speed. If you have to speed up or slow down the video, go ahead and click on the gear button. There's playback options to go fast or slow. If you don't need to hear my voice, you can always lower the volume on your device and click on the CC closed caption button. Alright, so let's get started. If you have not seen part 1, go ahead and do part 1. So they provide you the yarn to make Elsa and, oh my gosh, Anna. And they also provide you a crochet hook. Along with embroidery floss and needle. And they don't give you these stitch markers, but you should really go ahead and try to get these on your own. You can find them at a hobby store or online. I do have an Amazon storefront. I will leave that in the link in the description box below. I did dump in there a couple of places that you can buy these stitch markers. I've never personally purchased from them. I just tried to find a high star rating on Amazon. You can go ahead and find similar places on Amazon to get these stitch markers if it better makes you comfortable to trust them. So, alright, let's get started with this. We're going to continue with the skirt, and we have Elsa upside down because we're going to be working on the little front loops only that we did in the part 1 video. And then what we have to do is cast on with the slip knot. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. You're going to take your pinky, ring, and thumb and hold one end. You're going to take the middle finger and index and hold apart the other. Take your crochet hook and we're going to lie it perpendicular to the yarn. We're going to go down, out, and around to create this loop around your hook. You can slide your hook up and down. Let's slide the hook down towards our thumb. We can take our middle finger and just hold it where it crosses so that you can let go of your left hand, gather up some feeder yarn, and then repinch the end as close to the end as possible. And then we're just going to slide our hook farther down towards our thumb, and where it crosses, we're going to pinch it so that you can no longer slide the hook up and down. Then we're going to yarn over, which is basically putting this feeder yarn over the hook like that. And then we're going to pull this strand through the loop. So let's do that like that. Then we're going to overhand our hook. We're going to repinch the end. And you're going to push this knot towards your thumb. It's going to make it smaller and tighter. Push until you can't push the knot any further down. We're going to take our thumb and middle finger and just pull out this excess piece just to make that knot a little more snug. Then you can slide the knot towards your hook. And then we're ready to go for round 1. Okay. So we are going to be, it says join the first free loop from round 4. I don't even know what that means. Does that mean anywhere, or does that mean at the first one? We're going to go at the first one and see what happens. So stick your hook into that first loop. You can kind of tell because this whole thing is spiral, right? The whole thing's spiral. What is this? I gotta trim that guy. Hold on a second. It's kind of probably when we join the legs. All right. So, it's spirally, so you can see there's a gap because that's where the spiral goes up. So let's just stick our hook into that first one here. Okay. And what we're going to do is a single crochet stitch. So I'm just going to pretend we're just going to start a single crochet stitch right off the bat. So we're going to yarn over. You're going to pull up a loop like that. Then you're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through those two loops. So that's your first single crochet stitch. Let me just take this marker here and I'm just going to mark the last stitch of round 4. This was round 4 from the part 1 video. This is just so I know where I'm going to be, where I'm going to end up. Okay. So let's do the let's do another single crochet stitch. Stick your hook into the next front loop only. Okay. We're going to yarn over, you're going to pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Now we have 2 single crochet stitches. Let's do this one more time. Stick your hook into the front loop only, yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So now I have 3 single crochet stitches. They consist of 2 loops on top. Here's the front loop and this is the back loop. Rewind this part as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing single crochet stitches on your own. But I'm just going to finish the rest of the single crochet stitches in this first part here. Okay. And then the next part is doing single crochet stitches in the next loop. Okay, so we're going to fit 3 single crochet stitches in this loop. So put your hook into the next loop and we're going to do 3 of them. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Then the next part is doing another group of single crochet stitches, so do that. And then, of course, we're right where we need to be on our last stitch. If you do this right and you're using stitch markers, the last stitch that you do is going to be in this stitch marker. So I'm going to teach you how to do an increasing stitch. An increasing stitch is basically doing 2 single crochet stitches in 1 stitch. So stick your hook into this front loop here where the stitch marker is. You can remove the stitch marker if you don't have enough room for your hook. We're going to do 2 single crochet stitches in here. 1. Stick your hook into that same stitch with the stitch marker. And then do another single crochet stitch. So that's basically a an increasing stitch. Alright, so at the very end of this round, there's a parenthesis with numbers. That's basically how many stitches you should have at the end of each round. So what you want to do for beginners, or it's good practice to do it every time, but just to count backwards from your hook. So count back all these stitches, and they should equal the same number of stitches in that parenthesis. If it doesn't, just you can count twice just to make sure. If you're definitely off, you should find out where you missed a stitch or where you increased a stitch, because that's going to mess up your whole thing thereafter if you don't fix it. All right, but we're going to do round 2. And this one is pretty straightforward. We're going to do single crochet stitches all the way across. So I'm just going to go ahead and find that first single crochet stitch we did. Let me just count back just to make sure. Let's hold it a sec. Okay. So I'm going to complete round 2, and then we'll pop back in to do round 3. All right, so back around where the stitch marker is, I'm going to remove this and place it under the last stitch we made. Like that. Make sure you don't pierce the yarn. You want to make sure you pick up both loops. Okay, so now we're going to do round 3. Now in this situation we have brackets followed by a number of times that we have to repeat it, and then of course we have the parenthesis at the end with the number of stitches that we need to have at the end. So in these brackets we have increasing stitches and single crochet stitches. So let's focus on one bracket, and then you're just going to repeat that over and over again. Okay, so since I've only shown you how to do the increasing stitch once, I'm going to go show you how to do it 2 more times. So go into the next stitch, and we're going to do an increasing stitch. So that's basically doing 2 single crochet stitches in here. So let's do 1, and then put your hook into that same stitch, and we're going to do the second one. All right, from here you're going to do the single crochet stitches they want you to do. So let's do this now, and then I'm going to show you how to do the increasing stitch one more time. Sorry, I just lost count like right away. Okay, let me just gather up some more yarn here. All right, so let's do an increasing stitch. Stick your hook into the next stitch. We're going to do 2 single crochet stitches in here. 1, stick your hook into that same stitch. Let's do another one. All right, so that's an increasing stitch. Okay, so I'm going to finish up this bracket by doing my single crochet stitches. And then again, you guys, we have to repeat these brackets. So go ahead and do that. And then we're going to come back in for round 4 and see what it has us doing. All right. Play this under the last stitch we made. Now we're going to do round 4. So this one is like round 2. We're just going to do single crochet stitches, and then the you should have the same number of stitches that it has in the parentheses. And replace this under the last stitch we made. Now, rounds 5 and 6 are pretty much the same as what we've been doing. So I'm going to just, you know, pass through that. You guys should be all right doing 6 and 5. 6 and 5. I'm going to come back in and we're going to do round 7 because it's introducing 2 new stitches. So, all right. Let me so I finished rounds 5 and 6. We're going to do round 7. So let's start off by doing the single crochet stitches. All right. Then from here, we're going to be doing a slip stitch. So let me show you how to do a slip stitch. You're going to stick your hook into the next stitch. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all the loops off your hook. That's a slip stitch. Right, and then we're going to chain 1 and you're going to turn. Okay. They're calling this the unfinished round. All right, so from here, we're going to work in some rows. Oh, I guess we're going to be making the tail of her dress. I didn't think her dress was this high. I don't know. We'll find out what happens. Okay, so for round 1, for row 1 through 7. So we're just going to have to keep track of these rows. And what I'm going to do actually is 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's different when it's rows now. Let's see. I guess let's do it. All right. Let me just put a stitch marker. This is going to count for row 1. I'm going to stick it under the last stitch we made. This is going to tell me I have to complete row 1. Okay, we turned it. All right, now for row 1, right, we're pretty much doing single crochet stitches. So let's do that. We're going to stick our hook into the first stitch where that stitch marker is, and we're going to start our single crochet stitches. Keep count of how many you're doing and make the single crochet stitches required for that row 1. Let's remove this one. Guess it's not needed. Okay, it seems like we're making a slit. Should probably go on the front cover and see where this is to make sure that I have my slit in the right location. Yeah, I don't know. All right, it's at the side. Aren't we so fancy? I don't have a side slit dress. Comment below if you have one. All right, so I'm going to put a stitch marker at the last stitch we made. Now we have to chain 1. Let me get some more yarn here. All right. So we're going to chain 1 and then turn. And then we're going to do the same thing, single crochet stitches. Now on row 8, we still have to chain 1 and turn. We have to do round 8, and I'm nearing the end of my yarn, so thank goodness. But we are going to be doing single crochet stitches. So chain 1, turn, and then we're going to finish these single crochet stitches all the way around. Okay. So after we've done that, it wants you to fasten off and weave in the yarn ends. So what I'm going to do is show you how to fasten off. You're going to yarn over. You're going to pull this through the loop all the way out. And then we're going to tighten this up. Now we have a long end here. We can just trim this up a little bit so we don't have to weave in forever. But I'm going to go in now, and I'm going to weave in the end by literally weaving in and out of the stitches and pulling this thread, this excess piece, through everything. And I'm going to keep doing that until this end is completely tucked away. And then we can move on to the arms. Okay. Now we're going to use the peach yarn to make the arms, but this is what it's looking like right now. How silly is this right now? Kind of cute. All right, let's move on to the next. Okay, so for the arms, we have obviously 2 of these we got to make. I'm going to do the second one off camera to save time, but we are going to be doing the magic ring. So let me get some yarn here, and we'll start that. All right, so to do the magic ring, you've got to take your yarn here and wrap it around your finger 3 times, like that, with a little bit of overage, because we're going to take our middle finger and just hold it over the end. Then you can go and straighten out your strands here. We're going to slip the hook underneath the 3 strands. Then we're going to pull this back out, and I'm going to drag this strand underneath these 2. So hook it, turn your hook slightly to the side so that you can tuck it underneath these 2 strands, like that. Then we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull this through the loop all the way out. Then we're going to let go of our middle finger and then slip these rings off the index finger. So now we can move on to round 1, which is doing single crochet stitches. So make sure you do the number of single crochet stitches requested. To do a single crochet stitch in a magic ring, do this: stick your hook into both loops. We're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through underneath these 2 loops, and you're left with 2 loops on your hook now. So yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So let me show you again. Stick your hook into these magic ring loops. We're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull up underneath the magic rings here. So we have 2 loops. Yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. One more time. Stick your hook into the rings, yarn over and pull up under those loops, then yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So we have 3 single crochet stitches here. I'm just going to go ahead and finish the single crochet stitches required for round 1. Okay, and once you have that, I'll show you what to do next. We're going to overhand our hook, and we're going to hold the stitches at the bottom here. I'm letting go of my feeder yarn. You can move this out of the way, but let's just focus on this excess piece and these 2 loops here. What we want to do is close up this ring. So we have a huge hole. We want it to be a no hole. And what we're going to do is pull this excess piece, and we're going to watch to see which one of these 2 loops moves in first. So let's do that now. Pull this excess piece. And the moment you see the loop move, stop pulling. We're going to pull that loop out on this bottom end. Don't pull anything out here. Just pull it from down here. And as you pull that loop, you're going to see the other ones start to disappear. That's exactly what we want. Pull it until you can't pull any longer. So now we're going to take the excess piece and then pull the other loop to disappear. Pull that till it's gone into the magic ring. Now you might have a little hole left. What we're going to do is pull in the opposite direction a little bit up. You're going to feel it move just a little bit. And then we're going to check out our little hole there. It's now gone. What I'm going to do is take a stitch marker, and we're going to mark the last stitch we made, because we are going to do round 2. So we have a bracket that we're going to repeat the number of times that it asks us to. We have increasing stitches and single crochet stitches, and we are going to end up with the number in that parenthesis at the end of the instructions. So the easiest thing to do, because sometimes it gets all scrunched up, start counting from the stitch marker the number of stitches from round 1, and then we're going to stick our hook into that last stitch. And then we're going to start the round 2. So we've done the increasing stitch, you know what it is, so let's do that. Okay. Then we have our single crochet stitches, and then we're going to repeat this bracket. Alright, so once you've completed that, we're going to replace our stitch marker to go under the last stitch we made in round 2. And then we're going to move on to round 3. So for round 3, oh no, we're going to do a new stitch called the invisible decreasing stitch. I'll show you how to do that, and then we have single crochet stitches, and we're going to repeat that bracket the number of times that it tells us to, and then we're going to end up doing one more invisible decreasing stitch, and we'll end up with the number of stitches in that parenthesis. So let's break this down. Let's start with a bracket first, and I'll teach you how to do an invisible decreasing stitch. So into the next stitch, we're going to put our hook just in the front loop. So here's the front loop, here's the back loop. You want to slip your hook from underneath up through the front loop like that, and the back loop is left there. So we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops. Then you're going to go into the next stitch and do the same thing again. Put your hook from underneath up through the front loop only. Back loop is right here. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop. So now we have 3 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3 loops. So now we're going to be doing the single crochet stitch. So go ahead and do that. Make sure you put your hook into the right stitch. And then we're going to repeat our bracket. So let's do another invisible decreasing stitch. You're going to stick your hook into the next stitch, front loop only, come up from underneath through the front loop only, yarn over and pull up a loop. Then you're going to go into the next stitch, front loop only, come up from underneath, there's the back loop, yarn over and pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through those 3 loops. Then you're going to do a single crochet stitch, and then in the end we have to do an invisible decreasing stitch. So let me show you how to do this one more time. Stick your hook from underneath up through the front loop only, yarn over and pull up a loop. Then we're going to come up from underneath. Let's remove the stitch marker so we can see what we're doing here. Then we're going to come up from underneath, front loop only, yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So I'm just going to take our stitch marker and put it under the last stitch we made. Now this thing is curling in, so what we want to do is flip this inside out. So go, and you can tell because this excess piece is just sticking out here. Let's flip this inside out and then tuck in that excess piece. Okay. Alright, now I'm gonna just tuck this in. Okay. Try not to crochet into that end piece. But now what we're going to do is, oh no, we have to change to light blue. Alright. Sorry, let's do this. Because I didn't read ahead. We have to change to the light blue yarn, but I like to change it very nice and cleanly. So let's remove the stitch marker here. We're going to remove our hook here. We're going to pull through all those 3 loops. 1, 2, 3. Okay. We're going to pull again through this front loop only. Then pull again through this front loop only. Then we have this loop here. We'll put our hook back in. And we're going to stretch this loop really big. So if you've not seen my part 1 video, I did the same thing here. I'm just going to pull this out to make a large loop. I have to cast on with the slip knot with the light blue. So let's get that ready. Okay. Now let's cast on with the slip knot. Grab that end. You want to hold it with your pinky ring finger and thumb, and then your index and middle on the other. We're going to take our hook and lie it perpendicular to the yarn. We're going to go down, out, and around to create a loop around our hook. We can slide our hook up and down. Slide the hook down towards the thumb. Take your middle finger and hold it where it crosses so that you can let go of your left. Then we're going to gather up some feeder yarn, re-pinch the end, slide the hook towards your thumb, and then pinch it where it crosses so you can no longer slide the hook up and down. But we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through the loop. Then we're going to overhand the hook, re-pinch the end. We're going to push this knot towards the thumb. Okay. Then you're going to pull with your thumb and middle finger this end piece till the knot's nice and snug. Slide it up towards the hook. You want to leave some room so that we can slip this off the hook. And then we're going to pick up our project, slip our hook back into that huge loop, and then pull on the feeder yarn. Now we're going to start this invisible decreasing stitch with the peach, and we're going to end up with the light blue. So take your hook and put it into the front loop only underneath here. Yarn over and pull up a loop, so there's 2 loops. Then you're going to come up from underneath and put your hook through the front loop only. Yarn over and pull up a loop, so there's 3 loops. Now instead of pulling with the peach, we're going to go ahead and grab the light blue, and then we're going to pull the light blue through the loop. I'm just looking ahead to see if I have to change back to peach, and I actually do, so I'm going to leave the peach on here, but I'm just going to slip this stitch marker under the last stitch we made, and we're going to move on to rounds 4 through 9. So this is going to be round 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright, so for the next rounds, we're pretty much doing the same thing, which is single crochet stitches. And I'm going to use all these markers up. I'm not going to do the last stitch because we have to get back to the peach. So let me do rows 4 through 9 in silence. Again, don't do the last stitch. We'll come in and we'll switch to pale peach. Well, I finished all the rows. The only problem is I kind of accidentally kicked out the peach. I hope no one else did this too. But you want to keep the peach inside because we need it to crawl through inside the arm so that we can change back to peach. So you're not going to see this happen, but what I'm going to do is unravel the whole thing up till it looks like this spot here, round 5. And I'm going to slip it back inside. And when we come back, we're going to finish the last stitch here and switch to pale peach. Alright, like it never happened. Okay, so we're going to do the last stitch here, and then we're going to switch to pale peach. So stick your hook into the last stitch here. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop so there's 2 loops. Instead of using the light blue to pull through the loops, I'm going to pick up the peach, I'm going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through both loops. Alright, let me read ahead and see if we're going to use the blue. Nope. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is cut the light blue about 1 inch or so, and we're going to tie this around the pale peach twice, not too tight, just so that we secure the blue from unraveling. Okay, we can end up tucking this piece in the end, but let us now take the stitch marker, replace it under the last stitch we made. Okay, make sure you clear the yarn there. And then I'm going to remove all these other stitch markers. And then for round 10, we're going to be doing single crochet stitches. So let's do that. Alright, and then it says, let's remove this stitch marker. It says we have to do a slip stitch, and then we're going to fasten off. So into the next stitch, we're going to slip stitch, so yarn over and pull through all the loops off your hook. And then we are going to use this pale peach to sew the arm to the body. So just give yourself enough yarn to where you can comfortably sew the arm to the body. I just, you know, wrapped around the perimeter of the arm very generously 3 times. Cut it. And then we're going to fasten this off by yarning over, pulling through the loop all the way out, and then tightening this up. Okay. And then we're going to stuff this into, we're going to stuff that blue into the arm. Okay. Then I'm going to grab the needle. This is actually a different needle, but you can use the needle that they give you. The needle that they gave you is pretty sharp, so be careful with that. I'm using a plastic needle that was in another kit. And it says sew the arms to the body. They usually tell you where to sew it, but let me just take a look at the photos. So it seems like we're just gonna sew it where the top of the dress meets here. So we want to have our arm right above here, because she has that like off the shoulder dress in the movie, if you've seen the movie. So let's go ahead and try to sew these pieces together. And normally I would sew around the arm, but I want to just sew it flat. I'm going to try to do it that way. Okay, then from underneath. Okay, so when you get this attached, I'm just going to find a spot underneath the arm to tie a knot. And then I'm going to go in one end here, and we're going to come out randomly out the other. I'm just going to cut this flush, and then you can squeeze the body to get that piece to hide in there. So we have the one arm sewn on. I'm just going to do the other arm off camera, and then we're going to come back in. I'm going to take a look at how much time we have, but we have the hair cap next. Alright, so here we are with our Elsa. It's looking a little scary. Hopefully the hair will fix that, but so far so good. In saying that, we're going to do the hair next. So we're going to pull out our ivory yarn, and then we're going to do the magic ring again. So I don't even know how many times we did this, maybe twice. Okay, so let's wrap this around your finger 3 times with a little bit of overage, so you can put your middle finger over it, and then slide this accordingly. I'm going to take the crochet hook and slip it underneath the 3 strands. Then we're going to pull it back. We're going to drag this strand underneath these 2. So hook it, turn it to the side, and then slip it underneath the 2 strands like this. Then we're going to yarn over and pull this through the loop. Right. Then let go of your middle finger, remove the loops off your index, and then we're going to start round 1. So we have to do single crochet stitches. Let's do those now. Alright, once we've completed that, we're going to overhand our hook, And we're going to hold the stitches down here. You can hold your feeder yarn back, but we just need to focus on this excess piece and these two loops. So what we're going to do is see which one of these loops are going to go in first. We're going to pull this excess piece, and then you're going to stop pulling once you see the loop move. Okay, so this loop here is the one that's moving. We're going to pull the bottom end out of that. So go ahead and grab that loop and pull the bottom end out. You're going to see the other loop start to go into the magic ring. Keep pulling until it's gone entirely into the ring. And then we're going to take our excess piece and you're going to pull that till this loop is gone all the way in to the ring. You might still have a hole there, so pull in the opposite direction and a little up. You're going to feel it move just a little bit more, making that hole non-existent. And then we're going to take a stitch marker and we're going to slip it under the last stitch we made, and then we're going to start round 2. Alright, so round 2 is going to be fairly easy. We're doing increasing stitches, and again, after the first round it might always be a little difficult because we scrunched everything together. You want to start from the stitch marker and count back the number of stitches required for round 1, and then stick your hook into that last stitch, and you might need to put a little elbow grease in that one, but then you can do your increasing stitches. So I'm going to do that all the way around now. Alright, once we've completed that, I'm going to put this stitch marker under the last stitch we've made, and then we're working with a parenthesis brackets. We're doing increasing stitches and single crochet stitches, repeating it the number of times it asks us to, and then of course we're going to check to see if our stitch count matches the number in the parentheses. So let's go ahead and do that now. Alright, so now we're going to do round 4, and we've got a bit of stuff to do in this one. My recommendation is when we have commas and a bunch of stuff in between, like, let's just focus on the section, and that's whatever's before the comma. So we're going to do some single crochet stitches. And then we're going to focus on the brackets. So in the bracket we have increasing stitches and single crochet stitches, and we're going to repeat it the number of times the instructions tell us to do, and the count should add up to the number in the parentheses. So let's do that now. Right, replace the stitch marker. Now this one's gonna be round 5, and then we're gonna get an extra stitch marker for round 6. This part is pretty easy. What we're doing is single crochet stitches, and then we're going to after we're done with round 5 and 6, we're going to do a slip stitch and a fasten off. Let me see, how many times have we done that already? Yeah, I think we've done it enough times, so I'm going to do that, but I'm going to come back in because we have to sew the hair onto the head. So I'm just going to do 5 and 6 and fasten off in silence. So I finished the hair piece, hair cap. We're going to put this on here. Now, you want to place this right on the head. Let me see what is. Okay, so maybe something like this. Oh my gosh, it's already starting to look like Elsa. Alright, so I'm just gonna go around and start sewing this. Preferably not with her arm in it. You know what? I really like this braid here. I don't know how much it's gonna be seen, but I'm gonna try to just go straight stitching and go up and down right behind the braid so that I can retain that braid there. Okay, not sure yet if I want to do anything special with this one. If I don't, I'm just going to go back in and tie a knot, but I'm going to leave this for now. So let's just work with what we got here. We now have to sew the hair. So let's go do that. All right, this one's a bit difficult. So it says we have to cut a strand of yarn and leave 2 inches. That's going to be the whatchamacallit, why can I not speak? The bangs. So it's something like this, and then we fold back like that. Now the problem is there's only 4 of these in the photo, but there's going to be a lot of strands, so there's a lot of guessing here. But it looks like we're sewing. We're going to pretty much sew the strand straight. We're using the cap as a way to sew through and make these straight lines. It's going to be something like this. So the best way to divide that up so that we have 4 bangs, I don't know. But I'm just going to guess, really. So let's just take a strand. Well, what we can do I'm going to pull this through. Okay, we've got our 2 inches. Just eyeball that, I guess. What I can do is kind of go back and forth and see what's going on here. Let's say we go like this. Until we reach the next braid that we're going to have a bang on. Okay, let's say that. So this would be the amount of length we need. I don't know, I'm just guessing. So I'm going to fold this over and get that length. And we need 4 of these strands, so fold that over. Get that length. And fold it one more time. Okay, I'm going to cut this off. Alright, so now I'm just going to cut the loops to get my strands. Okay. Then I'm going to take my needle. And we're going to go through this, pull this all the way out with the exception of 2 inches. Okay. Then we're just going to go straight back with this. And I guess I'm just going to use this braiding to hook my yarn around so I can bring it back. Okay. Then grab your next strand. This one's going to go on the other side. And we're just going to do the same thing. Okay. So now I'm going to make the second pair of bangs 2 inches long, and then we have to do the same thing, just trying to sew this in line together. Okay, once we're kind of at that point, I guess I'm gonna get this in here. We're probably gonna need 2 strands for this. Or just one big one. Then I'm going to try sewing this last bit here. Okay, I'm just trying to line this up and make sure I cover every last bit, hopefully with one strand. Okay, then I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to hope for the best. Okay. And as far as the bangs go, you can flip these back in place. I could possibly stick these somehow. Into this little mess here. All right, well, I can probably trim some of that. All right. Now we have to make the braid. Let's see how that's gonna go. It says that we have to cut 12 pieces. So, and to make it like 6 inches, we can kind of just guess the 6 inches. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know if I'm going to make 12. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Got it. Okay, I'm going to cut the loops. All right. So it looks like it has you pulling these 2 at a time under the hairline here. So we're gonna go right across here. And I'm gonna pull half of it through. We kind of have some here already. I don't know. Let's just not count that. But I'm going to sew in the rest. going to try to disperse these strands a bit, especially so that this little area looks more like a braid and not just a ponytail. My plastic needle might break. Last two. Definitely over 2 hours, but the last bit we have to do is just braid this and then we're done. Oh, we have to sew on the cape. Alright, so now I'm just gonna, it says to divide in 3 and braid it, but I'm gonna actually do like a fishtail braid with some of these clumps. The way, just you'll just have to look at it really. If you don't know how to do a braid, then yeah, just divide it into 3 sections and braid it. Start out with the fishtail, and then I'm just going to go in and start braiding the rest. think when you get to the end, just grab a piece of yarn that's a bit longer than everything. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to try to wrap this around. So this one, let's see, this one's kind of the longest. What you're going to do is take it, wrap it around the whole thing. Once, twice, and then to make it easier, maybe put your hook in here. Gonna wrap it one more time. And then I'm gonna hook it. Bring it underneath. And then pull it tight. And then from here you can make this look neater. Then I'm just going to trim the end here. Okay, come back, fix the bangs. All right. So we have this, then we just have to sew our cape on. Alright, so it says we gotta take about 8 inches of the light blue. I'm really just guessing. Then it says to split this, we just need 2 strands. So unravel this, and best you can, just take 2 strands out of this. Looks like it's made up of 4. Normally they're made out of 6, but this is a skinny yarn, so it makes sense. But just strip away 2 strands of this yarn. Okay, we're going to thread this up. Right, then we're going to take this and we're going to scrunch one end together. It does say trim it, but we'll see if it needs to be trimmed. But we're going to take the end here and we're just going to go in and out of this tool. Okay, I'm going to slip this through. Oh geez. Once that's through, I'm going to flip this upside down. And we're just going to sew this onto her back. So I would leave this hanging so we can tie it at the end. Well, I'm just going to sew it right along that light blue area. You can use the light blue yarn to grapple onto with the needle. Okay, then we're going to tie these pieces together. Double knot. Cut it. We're going to flip this down, hair down, fix the bangs again. It says to use mousse if it's a little crazy, but I think that's a little overkill. Alright, and there you have it. We have Elsa. Comment below, let me know how it went. Not too shabby. I guess next I'm going to do Anna. At any rate, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Isms by Josie. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos. And I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.